Hey everyone, this is Laurie and I am going to talk to you tonight about staying organized in your network marketing business. So this is one of the things that I get asked about all the time of how to stay organized, how to keep track of things, and it can be broke up in a bunch of different lessons. But for this Laurie's lesson, I'm going to tell you just a few things, and we might have to have a part two, or I can go in more detail later. So if you have questions, comment below this video on things you have questions on or what you want me to elaborate on more the next time. But so the first thing I have for you is, and this can be for any business too, right? So usually talk about the network marketing business, but this can be for any business. But so the first thing is to master your to-do list. I love having a list. I always keep track of things on a list and checking them off. And granted, I do most of my list digitally, but you want to master your to-do list. So you want to create some sort of system. And like I said, whether you prefer digital tools or a physical notebook or use sticky notes. I used to have sticky notes all over my computer, and now I have sticky notes all over my computer, but they're digital sticky notes. But you want to choose a system that you'll use consistently. If you're better at writing it down on a notebook, then get out your notebook and write it down on a notebook. I do have pen and paper. I love that also, but I do most of my stuff digitally, especially when I used to travel a whole lot more. Then I needed to have access to everything digitally and not to have to carry a bunch of stuff with me. And then prioritize stuff. Be ruthless in prioritizing. That is one of the biggest things. Identify your most critical tasks and tackle them first, and either delegate it or automate the less important ones. So look at your list. Say you have 10 things on your list, put them in order of priority and do the first three things first, no matter what. Always prioritize them and do the most important things first. And then break down your big tasks. So if you have a large project, divide it into smaller, manageable steps to avoid feeling overwhelmed. So like one of the things I do in my other business, I've done web and graphics design and branding and marketing for over 30 years. And while I don't usually take on new clients, any new clients I get, I usually refer them out to my nephew who now does that all the time. But I do take care of my past clients. And one of my clients, I was working on something earlier today, and is a big thing that it takes me a long time to do. And so I broke it into 3 sections, and I got one of those sections done today. So divide things into smaller, manageable steps so that way you don't feel overwhelmed, or you can get onto different things, because I still have a lot of things to do in my day, especially between taking care of a grandbaby, running the couple different businesses that I own and run, and my personal stuff, and then we had some different things that happened today with the grandbaby, and so then some of my things got put off. And so but that's it. You want to be able to manage things, but also be flexible, because if something comes up, then you need to be able to change quickly too. And then schedule your tasks. Block out specific time slots for different tasks in your calendar and stick to them. So for me, Google Calendar is my best friend. I put everything on my Google Calendar, no matter what, whether it's personal or professional, it goes on my Google Calendar and I stick to it. I put reminders on it and I make sure to stick to it. So the next tip is use your reminders, set alerts, ensure that you don't miss deadlines or important follow-ups. The Google Calendar from your phone, you can always put 2 different reminders, but if you go to the app on the computer, then you can put as many reminders as you want. So if it's something that's coming up soon, like a meeting sometime this week that I just set up today, then I'll put 2 reminders, usually one, 5 minutes before and one 30 minutes before if it's a call. If it's an in-person one, then it just depends on how long it takes me to drive there, and I'll put 2 meetings. If it's one like my niece's wedding, that when I first found out about it was 6 months away, then I'll put it like a month ahead of time, 2 months ahead of time, and then I'll do a week ahead of time, and then I'll do a day ahead of time, and then that morning. So I'll do several reminders. So leverage technology. So like I said, Google Calendar is my best friend. I use it all the time to schedule everything, but explore different apps and software. There's numerous tools that can help you manage different tasks, schedules, contacts, your finances. I do QuickBooks. It's like, I think it's like $120 a year. So it boils down to be $10 a month, something like that. But I do all my finances in that and my budgeting, and then it keeps track of things that I can easily just print out and email or print and mail to my tax accountant at the end of the year. Find out different ones that suits your needs and your budget and that will work for you. I also, just simply on my phone, I'll tell Siri to set an alarm. When I go to bed, or if I have an appointment coming up, I'll say set an alarm, or when I get on a coaching call with a client, I'll say set an alarm in 45 minutes because my call ends in an hour. So that way it goes off and I know to start wrapping things up. So different things like that. Cloud storage is your friend. You can store your documents, images, other files securely, and you can access them from any device. If you're Mac like me, it is great using iCloud. I pay for the iCloud storage. My laptop and my desktop and my phone all sync to the cloud, and all my information is there. So it doesn't matter which device I go on, or even if I went on, if my laptop crashed, I could get on my husband's laptop and I could get to my iCloud storage. I had my laptop crash one day when Mac did an update and it didn't like it, I guess, or whatever. Had to take my Mac to the store. They reset everything. And if it wasn't backed up to the cloud, I would have lost all my information. But luckily, all my stuff was in the cloud storage. So you can access it from any device. I was back up and running within a matter of minutes once I got my laptop back from Apple. And then automate repetitive tasks. So use different tools to automate things like your email marketing, your social media posting, your data entry. If you have things like that, it's up to you what you want to automate. For me, I don't automate social media posting. I manually post each thing. I don't use any services that post all across the different platforms. For me, to me, that's opening yourself up to giving someone else all the passwords. And I just don't choose to do that. And I like to have my hands on it. So I do those things myself, but it depends on what you want to do. And so those are some different ideas. And then another thing is organize your physical space. So declutter your workspace. Get rid of unnecessary items that create visual clutter and distractions. So now I have a hard time getting rid of stuff. My husband will attest to that. But I don't like clutter. I have everything organized. I know where stuff is and it's put in its place. So make sure you always have a place for things. But also, I try to live with the rule of if you haven't touched it in 6 months, you probably won't touch it in 6 years. So give it to someone else that can love on it. So I try to do that more and more. I've been doing that more with my clothes and some of my stuff in my place. I mean, there's different things that I'll pull out, like a book I'll pull out. You see, I've got lots of books. I'll pull those out and I'll reread books over and over again. So, but sometimes I do send them out to other people that could use them too. So So you have to just think of each thing, right? But especially moving, I forget how many times we've even moved in the last 4 years, several times. And so that makes you get rid of a lot of stuff because you just don't want to move it again. But categorize and label everything. Make it easy to find what you need. Use folders, binders, drawer organizers. I'm huge on organization. I have my file cabinets in my office and I have labels on my folders in there. In my kitchen, all my cabinets on the lowers have 2 pull-out drawers so I can put things in. We paid extra for that with our builder. And then in all my actual drawers, I have little divider things that so I can organize the things in the drawers. So I have, I think, one like quote junk drawer, but that still has dividers in it, so it's still organized. So if you can't find things, then you're going to end up going out and buying them again, and then you don't need them, right? And we've done that before too. So the more you can organize, the more you can find things. And so the same thing, have a designated filing system, establish a clear system for storing your physical documents and receipts. So I have a receipt file that I put in all my receipts, and at the end of the year, it goes in the yearly, and it's named whatever year. The same thing I have in my files, and I change those out each year. And so organize those. And then cultivate good communication habits. So centralized communication, use a tool like a team messaging app or a project management platform that makes easy communication for information and sharing. So like for my team in my network marketing business, we have a Facebook group, but then there's lots of people that don't do Facebook anymore. So then I have a group on Telegram. I have people on WhatsApp. I have people in my text messages, as well as I have people on my Instagram messages and my Facebook messages. So whatever works for you, you want to have different things. I also have an email list for my team where I can send out an email to anyone on my team that I've got their email address. And so that's the most effective way. But then the same thing, there's some people that don't read emails either. So it just depends on where everybody is at, and different people do respond differently. So one person might, not want to look at Facebook, and another person might not want to look at email. And so then it's important to have, especially if you're a leader, you need to have several different places that you connect with your team and your people, but always respond promptly. So my aim is to respond to messages and inquiries within 24 hours. Now I try to within an hour or two, but obviously there's times you're in meetings or something's going on. You can't, you don't want to be a slave to your phone either. If I'm on a date with my husband, I'm not going to be checking my phone during that time. So you're going to have to wait till we're done with our date, right? And so, but always, like I tell people, if I don't answer you in 24 hours, that means I didn't get it or something's majorly wrong. So I always answer at least within 24 hours, and document key decisions and agreements. So keep a record of important decisions and agreements to avoid misunderstandings later. That is one thing that is huge, and why I love the technology. So a lot of people like to talk on the phone, and I love to talk on the phone too. But if it's important things where there's decisions, where there's agreements, things like that, I want it in an email. I want it in a text. I want it in writing. So I can always refer back to it, and you can always refer back to it. And then my last thing is prioritize self-care. This is one thing that took me so long to learn, and I still struggle with it because I'm one of those workaholic types, and I love what I do, and so I'll work all the time. And so I have to learn to schedule breaks and downtime, and it's vital to step away from work to avoid that burnout. And like I said, I love what I do, so I don't ever have that burnout, but you still need to block out personal time and stick to it. And so my personal time, sometimes I'll get my nails done, or, I'll go get a massage, but my personal time more so because I am such a people person is being with my grandbaby, being with my husband, being with one of my kids or all my kids, family time. That's one thing that I love, and I plan that very often and maintain that healthy work-life balance. So make time for activities that you enjoy and connect with loved ones to avoid neglecting other important aspects of your life. But then also, one thing that I struggled with for a long time is don't be afraid to say no. Learn politely to decline tasks or requests that could overburden you and compromise your organization. And so it's okay to say no. And I remember I had a client several years ago that two different times I had a client that had me work lots and lots and lots and basically wanted me to say how high when they would say jump. And um, one was way back when my kid's dad was in the picture, and he helped me to say no to that client and fire that client. And then one was when Kevin came in the picture, and the same thing. I had fallen back into that, and somebody was very much so taking advantage of me and my time and my desire to please people, and he helped me to say no and fire that client. So you are important, and make sure that you take care of you. And just remember also that organization is an ongoing process. So you can experiment with different strategies. You need to find what works best for you, because what works best for me might not be the best thing for you. So the thing is, take some of the ideas that I said, you can try them, but you need to find what works best for you and then maintain that productive and efficient workflow in your business endeavors. So I hope this helped you. Like I said, if you have any questions or if you want me to delve in more into any specific thing, write your comments below, send me a message. If this helped you in any way, please share it with a friend. You can also find me on YouTube. You can subscribe there, or the podcast. You can write a review if you do Apple Podcasts, or any of the other platforms. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Hope you have a great night.